Alright, what is up guys? In today's video we're going to be breaking down how to build the best STG-44 class right now in Warzone. We're covering what is the best magazine and a couple of the attachments, comparing them head to head to give you guys the best breakdown to help you build that best class setup for this weapon. Majority players actually use the 7.62 ammo, which is absolutely the worst thing you can do for the weapon, which we're going to actually break down how that is actually affecting your damage, range, and all your time to kills. If you guys do enjoy any part of the video, it does help you build a better class setup. Please leave a like on the video if you guys do enjoy the in-depth content like this. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button down below. And if you guys do buy any G Fuel, my discount code is currently 30% off until Monday. So let's jump right into it. The first and most important thing we're going to talk about here is obviously the magazines. With the 7.62 ammo, you obviously get improved fire rate with lower damage, and then with the Russian ammo you get improved damage and range with lower fire rates, and then you have the base ammo. What we're going to take a look at on the screen here is going to be, so what you guys can see on the screen, this is all of the data you guys need to know. So we have our base damage, which is just the regular STG. You have a 700 TTK, 800 in the second range, which is above the 36 meter mark. So when you add that 7.62 on, which I believe 70% of players are using, it does 100% improve your recoil, but your TTK goes from 700 down to 837. So this gun kills slower in its base range than the base weapon does at 100 meters away, which is absolutely atrocious. You do get a 930 in the second damage range, which is also horrible. Anything above 900 in your max distance is not the best. It's actually on the low end. And anything above 750 in its base damage is on the low end. So 850 is absolutely atrocious. You guys can see it does require 2 more shots to kill. Goes from 8 to 9 to 10 to 11. Your fire rate is going from 600 to 645, which is a very minimal improvement. And then we do have the TTK of the Russian. So with the Russian, 99% of the time your TTK is going to be 764, which is actually slower. And then your long range TTK is also slower. You do have the potential to get a 650 TTK, which is if you get 7 perfect chest shots, which is not as practical. So you could potentially get 1 less shot to kill up close, which would improve your TTK. And you also do get improved range. So basically it's breaking down as far as your damage profiles. You have 8 shots to kill. Your base damage is 30 and 26, and then 33 and 30. So the simple math is your damage multiplies by 1, your base damage. So your base damage is 30 and 26. So with the Russian ammo, you go to 33 and 28, which is going to once again improve your overall TTK. So with that being said, with the STG ammo, the big negative is your damage goes from 30 to 27 and from 26 down to 23. So that long distance damage absolutely drops with a 0.9 multiplier. It's that simple. The only benefit here of that STG is it does have limb, chest, stomach, and arms damage all the same, versus this one does have a chest multiplier for both the Russian and base ammo. So that basically covers the damage, the TTKs, how the damage is actually affected. We do take a look at our fire rate. Obviously, Russian ammo 550 is absolutely atrocious. I think 600 is on the low end, so anything below 600 is terrible. Then to go from 600 to 645 is very minimal improvement. With the 7.62 ammo, the big absolute negative, number one, is this is a long range setup, which is probably why majority of players are building it wrong. Your range goes from 36 meters, which is average, to 25 meters, which is the worst out of any assault rifle. This is almost like SMG level. And your bullet velocity is average for a base AR with no attachments. So your bullet velocity, which is going to help improve your TTK, is absolutely dropped. So your TTKs in those long range where you're seeing like the 930, at that 50 meters, your TTK is probably at 1,000 milliseconds, which is absolutely atrocious. So the range gets tanked, the velocity gets absolutely tanked, the time to kill gets tanked. The one thing you're going to get is a massive improvement in your recoil, your mobility. So with the movement speed, you have the fastest movement speed, the fastest ADS, and the fastest reload. The Russian ammo is pretty good. ADS across the board was excellent. Reload times are okay. The 60 round mag is on the slower end, but mobility wise they're all okay. The one huge improvement for the Russian is you do get improved bullet velocity and improved range, which is kind of a bonus, which I kind of do recommend using it maybe as a sniper support. So the biggest factor you guys are probably wondering is how these recoils are actually affected. So let's take a look at that right now. All right, so as you guys can see on the screen, this is the 3 recoil patterns. The 7.62 on the left, the 60 round mag, the base ammo in the middle, and on the right we have the 45 round mag of the Russian. As far as the amount of recoils I've tested, the Russian is honestly not that bad. The absolute biggest difference you can see is that first 4 to 8 bullets have a massive gap between them, and it has 2 zigzags in the middle, which obviously you kind of have to counter for. The recoil is still pretty good in my opinion. With the base recoil, this is obviously has the most vertical recoil, as weird as it is that the Russian ammo actually has less vertical recoil than the base. Obviously 45 bullets for 60, and then obviously you have that 7.62 ammo, massive reduction in vertical recoil, and the horizontal is absolutely spotless. Probably the best recoil pattern you've ever seen that I've ever uploaded. So 100% the 7.62 gives you an excellent recoil pattern, but the base ammo is still very, very, very good in my opinion. This is after the buff of the weapons. So this is the main reason why people do use the 7.62 ammo, because it has the best recoil pattern I've ever seen. But even with the base weapon, it still has a very good recoil pattern. It just has a lot more vertical kick, which you just have to pull down on your thumbstick or mouse to counter for. So then on the screen, you guys can see this is the chart of the actual time to kills. And this is why, in my opinion, the 7.62 ammo is atrocious. So in red is our base ammo. You guys get about 35 meters is pretty average. And then the TTK is about that 700 mark, which is once again pretty average. So range is average, TTK is average. The second damage profile, 800 millisecond TTK, is pretty good. Definitely top tier in my opinion, which is probably why it's a top ranked weapon right now. As far as with a 7.62 ammo, your TTK only drops and your range only drops. So you guys can see at about that 25 meter mark, your TTK is going to go up to 930, while you're still killing at 700 milliseconds for 10 more meters with the base STG. So that's kind of where I don't really recommend it, because TTK wise, which is probably one of the most important factors in damage, this gun just doesn't, it shoots marshmallows. Or damage per mag is going to be absolutely atrocious, below average in everything, and why I highly rate against it. With the Russian, you guys can see in blue, you have the potential to get a faster TTK, but most likely it's always going to be slower. And then your range is improved to 45 meters, which is pretty top tier in my opinion. So this is kind of, in my opinion, more of a sniper support. The range is irrelevant. You could even run some like the Mercury silencer, which is going to improve your ADS while lowering your range, which is going to make your ability to get more close range gunfights win better. So what I want to cover is going to be the best overall class setup for each one of these specific weapons, because they all are kind of built differently. So the first class setup is obviously going to be the most important. What I did want to show on the screen here for you guys is this is kind of where I get a lot of my information from. Is I do go on this website, is wzranked.com, and what it does is it actually will show you all of the most important and the most popular attachments of what people are actually using right now in Warzone. So you guys can see the MX silencer, the barrel, optic, the stock, all of that stuff. You guys can see, as far as the magazine, 63% of players that play this game are using the absolute wrong attachment. Yes, you do get at level 13, which is 100% why people probably use it, because they're not all at level 53 to get the 60 round mag, but it absolutely tanks your TTK. So this is kind of what I use to help with my class setups, to kind of break down for you guys what's the most important. So, but like I said, I did want to cover the best overall class setups for each setup. So obviously with that of the 7.62 ammo, basically what's most important: lengthened, hand stop, the barrel, the silencer. Obviously you want the MX silencer, you do not want to run the Mercury. And then you have the 2.5 with the weighted stock, the polymer. The one factor here is you probably would want to take off Vital. I'm not 100% sure how it stacks. I don't believe it would stack with the 7.62 ammo. I haven't tested, I apologize, but it does lower your recoil. So I would probably run Nerves of Steel, which is going to improve your recoil while you're in a fight. So basically this is the most popular class setup. The biggest factor though is when we are swapping out and we put on the regular base ammo. This is going to be a bit of a more aggressive class setup, still with obviously the same setup. The difference here, we're going to still keep it the polymer as obvious, nerves of steel. We have the hand stop, which doesn't affect our ADS, and then we still have the mercury silencer. The only difference we're running here is we are swapping out that stock. The weighted stock tanks your movement speed by I think 6%, and then versus the precision, which makes only 2% slower. So you get a 4% faster movement speed, and you get worse ADS in exchange to get improved ADS. So this is going to still help your recoil, the horizontal, which is probably very important, but your movement speed and your ADS speed is going to be better, which is going to help you for the most aggressive class setup possible. So you have the same exact class setup as the other one. The difference is you just swap this stock out, because this is going to be more in that mid 25-45 meter range where you're fighting in a close range where the movement and ADS might actually help you. So that's basically it for the 60 or the base ammo 60 mag. With the Russian ammo, obviously 100% you want to run the exact same setup. With this one, you do obviously want to, this is more of a sniper support, more of aggressive class setup. In my opinion, I probably would even run the tactile stock here. Once again, the stock is probably the biggest factor with a lot of these Vanguard weapons. So by putting the tactile stock on there, we're going to improve our initial firing recoil, which also improves basically like the Raider stock. We get a 35% faster strafe speed, which is now going to take us up to SMG level, and our aim walking steadiness, which helps our player tracking at close range, massively improved. So improve our initial firing recoil. Obviously, we're going to swap this out probably in the slate reflector because we're playing the most aggressive as possible. We do have the Russian ammo, which is going to improve our range and lower ADS. So by swapping that out, we would run the mercury silencer, which is going to lower range, I think 10%, which is not much. You're still at 40 meters. Still hand stop and lengthen to get the best bullet velocity. But the difference here, we run a red dot with the mercury and the tactile stock, which is going to help increase our close range. This is our sniper support. So this is our SMG setup, as long as also mid-range. And then we have obviously the 30 mag. And the big factor here, if you want, I forget which grip it is, either the granular is pretty good. I think it's the grooved grip. So the grooved grip here is going to improve your horizontal recoil while also improving your strafe speed, I think by almost 10%. So if you're looking for the best SMG setup for the STG, swap over to the grooved grip. Stacking with the tactical is going to give you nearly a 40% increase to your strafe speed, which is massive. I believe if I do the math on the top of my head, you're going to go up to about 77 to 80%, which is up to the top tier with the MAC 10 and the OTS. So that is I'd run if I'm running the 45 round mag. So like I said, if you guys enjoyed any part of the video so far, like the video and subscribe.